All right. Welcome to the pod, Steph. Thank you so much for joining me. It's great to have you on.
Thank you.
We are speaking at the end of May, and today marks the end of your 12-month training program to become a UEFA A licensed coach. First of all, congratulations. How are you feeling?
Yeah, thank you. Today's the final day, so it's been a long 12 months. It's been intense, but I've learned every single day I've coached. I've learned something new. I've learned a lot about myself, but also how to get the best out of players that I've been coaching, whether that's Manchester City under 14s, pro direct soccer team. So it's definitely been a challenge, and it's pushed me hard, but at the same time, 12 months has absolutely flown by.
For listeners who might not know, the UEFA A license is the highest practical coaching award available. So what inspired you to do that?
A lot of reasons, to be honest. I think I knew that as soon as I stopped playing, I wanted to try and do it as soon as possible, because I think what you learn on the grass as a player, it's a lot of information, and I think I wanted to be kind of as fresh as I could coming off and trying to coach. But ultimately, for me, as a challenge to myself to see if I could, and I think it's important for especially our game in women's football, if we can pass the knowledge, the experience that I've had over the last 20, 25 years down to the younger generation, the future players. I think I'm a big advocate of former players trying to stay in the game in some way, shape or form. And whether I go down the coaching route, I'm not so sure yet. But I think for me, it's so important that I had the qualification and I learned a lot along the way.
Has there been anything that's surprised you along this journey?
It's harder than you think. I think you just think people put some cones down, you get people into teams, it's just about possession. But ultimately, there's so much thought that goes into when you design a session and what outcomes you really want. And I think that for me was probably the hardest part. I think in terms of knowledge and tactics, I think I've got a lot of experience to be able to kind of put that out onto the pitch. But it's like, how do you set up the session to be able to show that to the players? And I think as well, being able to transfer information from a player that potentially hasn't played a lot of football, is young, just starting their journey, to someone that's experienced, you have to be able to be adaptable in that moment.
Was there any part of the course that maybe made you think about part of your career, like maybe a particular moment or conversation maybe differently because you'd seen it perhaps from the coaching perspective?
You know what? More about like from a personable side. I think how you can influence as a coach. It's not necessarily just about everything that you do on the grass, the drills that you kind of set up for the players to get better or to try and compete and to win. But I think how you are as a person around players is massively important. I think you've got to try and inspire as much as you possibly can, but you've got to treat them as human beings, and I've got to be human myself. So I think for me, that probably more confirmed what I thought. And I think that kind of relates to a lot of great managers that I've worked under and coaches that not only are the great coaches on the football pitch, they were great people as well.
Yeah, I guess that's something, especially when you've played for such top teams and you've got so many good players in top teams, how you manage so many different, the qualities, the different personalities. And then you realize maybe that each of those people need coaching in an ever so slightly different way, right?
Yeah, it's a skill set, that's for sure, and I'm nowhere near the level that I need to be if that was a case in terms of being a manager that's able to manage all them personalities. And this is like the first year of my coaching journey, so for me, I'm conscious that takes a lot of time and effort, and you've got to have really good people around you. But I think from a human perspective, I'm quite good with people. I understand when maybe somebody may be having a bit of a bad day or someone needs picking up, and especially being in the first team environment in Manchester City, I think obviously I knew the players well, I knew the staff well, so I think you can really hone in on what your skill set is, but by far not the finished article, and you probably never are, to be honest. As a coach, you're always developing every single day.
Yeah, I guess for us from the outside, you forget that obviously all the tactics is really important, but there's probably other areas that I imagine you have to go off and make better as well, that isn't just on the pitch.
Yeah, there's a lot of work. I think as a player, I was really dedicated. I used to come in early. I used to do what I needed to do. I'd always stay late. But as a coach, you're having to go even earlier to prepare not only just players, but staff, and get everybody on the same page. So it's definitely been an interesting experience. It's a lot of commitment, and that's why the best coaches are the best, because they commit fully in the work, the hours that people don't see. But I think when you are coaching a team, it is a lot about getting that balance of what you do on the pitch, but also that stuff off the pitch as well.
Would you have liked to have coached yourself? Do you think you were like a top student type player?
I think I was very coachable, if I'm being honest. I think there's times when when I was a little bit older, you'd probably try and challenge and but that with the intention of trying to get us better, whether it's an England environment, a Man City environment. But yeah, I think I love to learn. I love to learn off better people. I love to learn of people that have done it in the game. And so for me, yeah, I think I was very coachable, to be honest. I didn't know I had no choice, to be honest.
You ideally want a team of Stephs then at some point.
Yeah, no, you definitely didn't want that.
Is there any particular coach that you kind of appreciate almost more now looking back on it, on what you've gone through, from that, particularly from that personal perspective and dealing with players as people?
You know what? I couldn't really pick just one out. I think that's the biggest thing when you're in coaching, is that you try and pick little bits of different coaches to try and suit what you want to kind of build. And I've been fortunate enough to have some great managers, in the sense of Nick Cushion, unbelievable coach, unbelievable tactician, but also very likeable and very driven, and that really inspired me. You got Phil Neville, who was very good on that personal side in terms of making sure you felt valued, but also bringing performances to an England side. So Hope Powell, she taught me so much. Honestly, I could go through a list of amazing managers, but I think the biggest thing is that you can take something off all of them and try and mould yourself into hopefully be half of what they've become.
I guess as part of the course really gets you thinking about tactics and who you are as a coach. So what kind of coach would you see yourself being?
It's so hard because I'm probably so biased to defending and making sure we have clean sheets, and but I also loved having the ball. So I think it's trying to find that balance of being able to be really hard to beat and everybody knowing that they've got a job to do defensively, but allowing people to have a bit of fun when we're attacking. And I think that's something that I've got to really think about, like maybe going forward, is like what my style of play would be. And I think because I've been at Manchester City and that model's been so apparent to everybody in terms of we love having the ball, you do become a little bit more biased of, okay, everything's with the ball, but that other side is so just as important.
I guess you played a couple of different positions as well. You know, you were kind of a little bit higher up the pitch at times. And does it shape how you approach things in terms of where you've played positionally?
No, I think I would be a big believer in making people versatile. That's for a certain fact. I think being able to play different positions is important, especially if you want to be playing in international football when the squads are small and you've got 6 weeks, and you can be really good use of a manager. But I think you do learn the game in a different way. I really do believe that by experience, that you have a better appreciation of people who have played it in the forward line, what type of balls they want, or if you've played in the back line, you're a midfielder, how you can help them. So it works both ways, and as a manager you want players that can do a bit of everything.
You've obviously done this with an incredible array of current and former players. More women than ever have been able to participate in this programme, which is amazing. What's that like to be part of? You know, you've had KB there with you, Izzy Christensen, Beth Mead, Viv Miedema. Like, what's that been like?
Yeah, it's been honestly, it's been a bit of a whirlwind, to be honest. And I think to be able to work with them girls, the likes of KB, Izzy, like, we've really pushed each other and we've really helped each other as well. And it's obviously helps that we're kind of always within the same kind of circle, in the sense of we're coaching the same players. We can help each other out in terms of setting up the pitches, practice design. Also with the girls, because Izzy and KB have coached them more than what I have. So I think we work really well as a team, and that's part of being a coach, is how you actually are able to deal with different people and make them feel valued as part of your coaching team. And yeah, I can remember being here this time last year and thinking, oh my God, how are we even going to get through this? But here we are today and we've made it. So yeah, really happy.
Is there anyone that surprised you, like someone you've seen on the pitch and now you're seeing them in a coaching role? Is there anyone that you've kind of gone, oh, I didn't think you'd be like that?
You know what? No, I think Aoife Mannion, to be honest. I think I always know that she had a passion for coaching, but I think she's really good at organising her practices to get out what she needs. And I think that comes from her being a little bit more of a logical thinker than probably what I am. And I always knew she would be a good coach, but actually watching her work and the detail that she can give is really impressive. And also she was doing it while she was playing, so that's even more kind of impressive to me.
Was there anyone you played with during your career where you just thought like they are definitely manager material?
I always thought that about Casey, if I'm being honest. Casey. I thought that Farah would be a great coach. Jill was really interested in that. We always said that we'd be kind of maybe become a dream team one day, where I would organise her and she would do the session. She would be the fun person kind of thing. So we've had conversations like that. But I think looking into maybe City in England now, I don't know, Lucy Bronze could potentially be maybe a specialist coach or something, just with her leadership skills and what she's learned. I think it would be a waste. But yeah, I think the ones that stand out is definitely Casey.
What a dream team that would be, coming together. Could you imagine?
She's too busy, I think, so.
What was the 12 months like? Like, talk me through kind of, I guess every day was maybe different. Like, was it broken down into smaller sections? What was it like?
Yeah, so you have the 3-4 days at St George's Park where you have a big chunk of learning, and then you get assigned a tutor, and you have 6 blocks to complete. Within that block, you've got to do 11v11. So block 1 was start the attack. So it was basically you had to do like an 11v11 one session, but then in between the block 1 and block 2, you would have to do like an in situ session where they would come out, they would look at you in your club environment. You would probably do a session around that theme, whether it's high press, and that would be it. So you're constantly getting assessed every single month, but also you had online Zooms where you'd learn about that specific subject. We'd always check in, and then you'd have post-block reflections and post-block tasks. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, and that was constant for 12 months. But I think the most important thing when you're in part of this course is just trying to be on the grass as much as possible and learn as much as you can. You've
already obviously done the B licence. How much more difficult? Is it just like another level?
Yeah, it is. The B licence is good in the sense it does prep you for the year, because you do the small-sided games, you do the small numbers kind of practices, and that is a big part of what you're trying to get up to, and it's how you build your session. But I think here, in terms of detail, even the standard of what you're trying to get to, you always come off a session and you probably think you've done well, but there's always some sort of critique. So it's a very high standard in that sense. But that's what it's there for. That's why there's only so many people have this A licence, is because it's really hard to get, and the course has been demanding but really, really challenging at the same time.
How valuable has it been to be at a club like Man City while doing this, to be able to do your practical stuff?
Yeah, they've been great. I think they're really big on trying to get the former players in as much as possible and try and pass information down to the young players, and to work with the likes of the under-13s, under-14s, under-16s, but also the first team as well. I think to be able to be given that opportunity and to say to a coach, can I have them for an hour? I don't think there'd be many clubs that would do that. So, I mean, even working in the first team, to be able to learn off Nick again has been amazing. He's such a good coach. He's so adaptable. He's so chilled, and but when he works, he works. So it's quite nice to see how you can be balanced in that. So very, very fortunate.
Was it nice kind of having that, being in and around that first team a little bit again, and maybe, I guess, eases it a little bit, because at least you know some of the players and you can have those conversations maybe, and it doesn't feel as scary?
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit weird going back in. I think you've gone from being captain of the club for 10 years, being a really big influence and big voice in the changing room, and I think I found it really hard to find that balance of what I was before and what I was kind of becoming. But I think ultimately I just was me. I think part of being a coach is developing them relationships with players, in the sense of being able to be consistent with them, have consistent behaviours, and there was no point in me coming in and changing how I was. I mean, everybody knows I love the club. I want us to do well. I care about the people there, and being in a different jersey or having initials on my top, it doesn't make me any different. I still have the same outcomes, which is to help people as much as possible.
It must have been hugely valuable, though, with coaching staff, to have someone that's kind of, done both. You kind of straddle both now, and it must be quite nice for them to have someone like you in and around the team.
I think that was the idea, of course, when Nick comes back in. It's a different group of players to what he left, and I think that was to try and help them as much as possible, to guide them as how how he's seen fit in them kind of really that tough period of the 4 Chelsea games with a young squad with a lot of injuries. So it was nice to be back. It was nice to try and bring some energy to the kind of setup and in and around the building. So who knows what's next?
I guess more broadly, and we were talking about how important it is to have players stay within the game. What do you think needs to be done, I guess, to try and improve those opportunities for female coaches? I remember having someone on who, a player in a Palace, really wanting to coach, but couldn't find any clubs that would help her with that process. Now, the great thing was that podcast was heard, and by the next day she had a phone call and she managed to get it sorted. It was great. But more broadly, what do you think?
No, I think we have to really push for females and good coaches to be still in the game. I think now the game's grown ever so much and teams are having bigger staff resources, bigger numbers, and I think why not fill that kind of quota with someone that's been there, lived the league, knows how it works, and also can come at it from a player's perspective, no matter what kind of generation you come from. So I think for me, first and foremost, these opportunities of the A licence, the B licence, having these courses that are around the women's season is great because it makes it a lot easier from a logistical point of view to people to get on the course and to be able to kind of block out that time to go. And I think once you get people in this building, then automatically the fire in your belly kind of grows because that's what you want to do. And I think for me, it's just continually trying to show that coaching is an option. I think that awareness of being able to get on your level 2, B licence, A licence, and where that potentially could take you. I think once people see that, they could probably try and believe that they could be there.
I mean, it's incredible to think all of you guys are going to be that level of qualified coach and, not available. A lot of people are still playing, but to have that option of all of these incredible former players that can also coach now is going to be a wealth of good quality, exciting female coaches.
Yeah, and I think we just can't just get into that because we're former players that we're automatically going to be a good coach. I think for me, I'm always about trying to earn a job, earn a place in a staff because of my qualities, not because of what we've done previously, what my experience has been, what I've played for England. I think it's about you're looking at a different point of view in terms of, yes, she has that experience, but ultimately, is she a good coach and can she bring something to the team? And I think that's where we've got to find that balance that, there's a massive push for females to be in the game, but we want to bring females that are good coaches that can bring extra value, not just because of what they've played.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess, the UEFA A licence allows you to go and manage in the WSL. What do you want to do with it? Are we going to see you taking the helm soon, or is it just something you have in your locker now that you can do?
No, I think for me that my intention was just to be able to try and pass the course, try and get the A licence so that it gives us opportunities to broaden my horizons in the sense of it gives us more options. And I think I didn't want to just go down one route and it never happened and I never really kind of progressed as much as I possibly can. So I think because I started this 12 months ago, and the day I started was the day after I retired. So for the last 12 months, I've been really busy and it's been a bit hectic in terms of trying to take opportunities. So for me, I think it's just about getting through today, make sure our session's really good this morning, come away from today thinking, okay, I've done as well as I possibly can. I've still got stuff to improve on, but hopefully pass, and then, okay, let's see what happens over the summer. But I'm not ruling anything out, but I'm not definitely saying this is what I want to do. So probably sitting on the fence there, aren't I? So
a little bit, but that's all right. Let's imagine 10 years time, right? Let's imagine you're at a World Cup final coaching. Let's give it England, right? Who's your assistant coach? Who's your goalkeeper coach? Give me a specialist coach as well. Just throw 3 names out there. That'll be the dream team.
Oh, wow. I think I probably would say Jill as my assistant, because I think she can coach. She's a good player. She used to be a good player. She can bring something to the team. Goalkeeper coach, obviously KB. But ultimately, I think that's actually got me thinking this course is who would you actually have as your staff? But I think if I had someone that was working alongside us, it would have to be really, really experienced and I think really kind of driven to win. So I'd put Jill in there for now, to be honest.